Hello everybody, this is Ben from Spook Views doing a solo review of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, the very popular audiobook that has a lot of views on YouTube. So is it a YouTube scary story? No. Is it a scary story on YouTube? Yes. I will get into the differences later. Right now, let's set up what this book is all about. This story is about artificial intelligence from the perspective of a man back in 1966, maybe even a little before that, considering that's when the book came out. This book is about everything wrong with artificial intelligence, everything that could go wrong, computers dominating the world, what would happen. This goes into excruciating detail, gory detail, and it is insane the amount of depth this goes into. So definitely read this if you're an alternate history fan or you just love seeing old perspectives of technology that's already been manifested. Now, let's get into the differences here, people. Now, the differences here are staggering. Please stay tuned. The main difference between this audiobook and a YouTube scary story is the visualization techniques. For example, an author, if he wants to explain someone opening a door, that he'd have to say, Jack opened a door. That's how he would write it. When, on the other hand, a YouTube scary story would just play a door opening sound effect. Or, I looked at the door. And, that's far more detail in such a shorter amount of time. And it adds atmosphere because it's a creepy sound effect or whatever. And, also there's creepy music in the background. There's usually a GIF looping. There's usually a narrator who specializes in that creepy low tone voice, and none of that is present in this audiobook. So that's the biggest difference here, the visualization techniques. Now, the second biggest difference is that, there's no real topic talked about like this before in the YouTube scary story community. Now, obviously, YouTube scary stories aren't limited to just a couple of genres, but none of it's really been talked about before, and so the author goes in a very unique sort of tangent where it's not about providing atmosphere, it's not about providing that creepy sense of feeling, it's about providing gore. It's about drilling home the point, this is bad. This book, and now we're getting into the pros and cons, this book makes you feel bad. That is the point. It is 40 minutes of gore. And no. The ending is amazing, okay? And that's the strongest point I can give this book. The ending is absolutely amazing. Was never expecting it. Do not spoil it for yourself if you have any sense of wanting to read this book. That is its highest point. But this story, its lowest low and its highest high, is going into gruesome detail and just drilling a point home. It has character development, it has a good story, it has curiosity, it has mystery, it has all of that. It just all takes a back seat to the gruesome, gory detail this book goes in, and I mean literal gore, okay? It is action from the start all the way to the end. And you will have to take a break, probably 20 minutes in, just to take a breather. And I totally understand that. That is what I did. Finally, to wrap things up, a nice solid conclusion here. What are some of the big differences and what do I think about the book? What rating do I give it? Look, it gives some interesting perspectives, but it is a non-traditional YouTube scary story, and that's really what I want to point out here. It's a good, gory story that proves a really awesome point, alternate history, but it's not a YouTube scary story. It's just not. And honestly, the terror and the curiosity and the creepiness, that it just takes a backstage to the gore and what the author is drilling home of things can be bad in the future if AI, an evil AI, takes over everything. It is a dark story for the sake of being dark, and for that, I'm gonna have to give it a good rating. Look, it is not legendary. I can't recommend it to all my friends. It is not great. The ending was absolutely great. In fact, it's a legendary ending, but just that whole 35 minutes beforehand, no. For a lot of people, that's not going to be worth it. And this is going to be something for the alternate history fans out there. It's going to be something for the people who read fantasy books or who can take that 20-minute break and come back to it because it is so dense. There's not those additional visual aids to help you out along the way. But yeah, that was the I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream book, written in 1966. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Spook Views. We should be getting back to regular YouTube scary stories very soon here, but I just saw this one and I listened to it recently, and it does have its high points, but it is not a YouTube scary story, and I also just wanted to kind of explain some of the differences here. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I should be back soon with another video.